Hello and welcome to the Meri Sehat podcast. मेरा नाम मदीहा सैयद है. मैं मेरी सेहत की लाइफस्टाइल एंड वेलनेस एडिटर हूँ. हमारे साथ अतिया अब्बास हैं. अतिया एक एक्टिविस्ट हैं और एक फेमिनिस्ट हैं and an occasional writer. She became a vegetarian in 2018 and has not looked back ever since. By day she's a communication consultant and by night she's tweeting all of her thoughts. उनका बाकी सारा वक्त वेजिटेरियन रेसिपीज़ निकालने में सर्फ हो जाता है. And then उसके अलावा she spends the rest of her time consuming pop culture. हम अतिया से बात करेंगे कि वो पाकिस्तान जैसे मीट लविंग मुल्क में अपना वेजिटेरियन लाइफस्टाइल कैसे मेंटेन करती हैं as a hardcore lifelong vegetarian. Hello Atiya, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I'm so glad हम लोग ये vegetarianism पे बात कर रहे हैं.
हाँ, and this is something that you and I have discussed numerous times before because we've known each other for some time now. I remember you telling me once that before you turned vegetarian, it was your father who turned vegetarian. So is that one of the major influences in your life जिसकी वजह से आप, इस रास्ते पे निकल आए?
मुझे लगता है कभी कभार हमें रियलाइज़ नहीं होता बट हम अपने माँ बाप के फुट स्टेप्स में बहुत ज़्यादा फॉलो कर रहे होते हैं मोर देन वी रियलाइज़. हम कहते हैं कि शायद हम उनकी तरह नहीं होंगे लेकिन कुछ कुछ उनकी भी लाइफ्स में चेंजेस आए होते हैं जो आई थिंक आपके एज चिल्ड्रन रिफ्लेक्ट कर रहे होते हैं. तो फॉर माई फादर इट वॉज मोर स्पिरिचुअल रीजन्स. ही डिड इट फॉर दोज बिकॉज ऑफ हिज journey at the time. लेकिन for me it was mostly consuming a lot of YouTube content जो मैं vegetarianism और veganism उस वक्त देख रही थी. So that's one thing. The second thing that happened was I was going through some medical treatments and the doctor said that आप जो है चिकन खाना बंद कर दें क्योंकि या बंद तो नहीं कम कर दें बिकॉज हमारे यहाँ डॉक्टर्स भी इसी तरीके से फ्रेज करते हैं. तो क्योंकि उसमें बहुत ज़्यादा हार्मोन्स होते हैं और औरतों को जनरली थायराइड का मसला होता है. तो जब उस वक्त मैंने सोचा एंड ऑफ 2017 कि अब जब पूरा कोल्ड टर्की करना ही है तो फिर पूरा ही ख़त्म कर देते हैं. एंड बाय ऑन 1 मार्च 2018 तो मेरी जो है 5th ईयर एनिवर्सरी अभी आने वाली है ऑफ बीइंग वेजिटेरियन. दैट्स व्हेन 2018 आई डिसाइडेड कि मुझे अब नहीं करना. आई एम लाइक दैट.
What has it been like since then? उस वक्त से अब तक do you miss meat? Do you want to have meat?
No. I mean for बहुत सारी दफ़ा होता है कि ओ ट्राई करके देख मतलब अभी एक बर्गर खा लेते क्या हो जाएगा बट आई नो कि माई बॉडी वोंट बी एबल टू टेक इट एनी मोर. अभी जैसे हेल्थ वाइज मेरे जो बॉडी में चेंजेस आए हैं, स्किन बेहतर हो गई है, हेयर बेहतर हो गए हैं, ओवरऑल हेल्थ अच्छी हो गई है. एंड मतलब आई होप दिस इज सेफ फॉर वर्क. आपकी काइंड ऑफ बाउल मूवमेंट्स भी रेगुलर हो जाती हैं बिकॉज इट्स रियली ऑल द फाइबर एंड ऑल ऑफ द गुड थिंग्स आपकी जो न्यूट्रिशन है जो आपकी बॉडी में जा रही है. तो जब मैं सोचती हूँ कि अगर मैं कुछ खा लूँगी तो आई विल काइंड ऑफ जो था वो अनडू हो जाएगा ऑल द गुड आई हैव ऑलरेडी डन. दूसरी जो कहते हैं ना कि फूड इज़ ऑल्सो हाउ मच ऑफ इम्पल्स कंट्रोल यू ऑल्सो हैव. तो मैं आई ईट एवरीथिंग बट मैंने नोट किया कितनी पोर्शन कंट्रोल भी नहीं, कितनी रेगुलेट हो गई है मेरी हंगर बिकॉज आई ईट एट प्रॉपर टाइम्स नाउ. मैं सुबह नाश्ता करती हूँ एंड दिस इज़ बिफोर 9 AM. Then at lunchtime I'm kind of hungry and by evening I kind of slow down. 9 बजे के बाद मैं heavy carbs नहीं खाती. All of this happened because vegetarianism made me more aware of the changes in my body. तो ये इसलिए I would recommend कि लोग करें ये.
But do you think that's the case क्योंकि हमें वेजिटेरियन खाना इतनी आसानी से मिलता नहीं है पाकिस्तान में तो आपको प्रिपेयर करना पड़ता है जिसकी वजह से आपको प्लान करना पड़ता है. Is that the case or?
नॉट एग्जैक्टली आई नो बट अगर देखा जाए तो हमारे बड़े सगीर की पूरी हिस्ट्री में हम बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम तक प्लांट बेस्ड ही थे. तो दाल चावल, चना चाट, आलू का समोसा, ऑल ऑफ दैट इज़ समथिंग जो हमारे यहाँ जनरली
चटनी पराठा
ये सारी चीज़ें और ये सब हमारे यहाँ वैसे भी मिलता है. तो हम लोग ट्राई करें तो हम लोग काफ़ी अगर लोग अपने मील्स वैसे देखें ना तो दे विल नोटिस कि वो ज़्यादा प्लांट बेस्ड हैं मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम. तो आई डोंट थिंक कि आपको बहुत ज़्यादा प्रिपरेशन करनी पड़ेगी बिकॉज हमारे जो क्या कहते हैं क्यूजीन में ही बैंगन का भरता एंड अ लॉट ऑफ जो हमारे साइड्स हैं वो ज़्यादा बेहतर वेजिटेरियन है.
I mean वो अपसाइड्स बन गए लेकिन एक ज़माने में वो मीन्स थे.
बट आई फील कि हमारे हम लोग की बिकॉज हम अपने नेबर्स के साथ एक बहुत बड़ी हिस्ट्री शेयर कर चुके हैं वो प्रेडोमिनेंटली प्लांट बेस्ड ही थी. तो आई थिंक वी हैज़ अ लॉट ऑफ टू लर्न एंड वी हैव अ लॉट टू हमारे यहाँ इतना कोई रेडिकल चेंज नहीं है बिकॉज कराची इज सच लाइक अ मल्टी कल्चरल सिटी. तो उसमें काफ़ी सारे जो वो हमारे हिस्टोरिकली हमारे पास वो क्यूजीन्स अभी भी हैं They are easy to find.
So off the top of your head, like top 5 things जो आपको कराची जैसे शहर में मिल जाएंगी जो वेजिटेरियन हैं आसानी से.
ओके सो आपको वैसे तो देखा जाए तो वेजिटेबल चाउमीन मिल जाएगा जो इज़ वेरी गुड, लेकिन दाल चावल एंड देन सूफी के एक ढाबा, कराची यूनिवर्सिटी में एक ढाबा है सूफी का, उसमें एक माश की दाल है विच इज़ एक्सेलेंट, तो एंड ऑल्सो वेरी चीप टू हैव. एंड देन व्हाट एल्स कैन यू फाइंड ऑन, लाइक फ्रेंच फ्राइज आर ऑलवेज अ ग्रेट बेट, बिकॉज लाइक मेरा होता है कि जब बहुत ज़्यादा मेन्यू पे कुछ नहीं होगा, लेकिन मैंने कहा कुछ नहीं होगा तो फ्रेंच फ्राइज तो होंगे ना, दैट इज़ समथिंग आई एम ओके विद. और हमारे यहाँ फ्रेंच फ्राइज भी अब बहुत चटनीज और उसके साथ होते हैं, तो इट्स अ फिलिंग मील टुगेदर.
But I think we also, my husband's also a vegetarian और उनका favorite चीज़ जो है जहाँ पे भी हम जाते हैं वो ये है कि मुझे कहीं से चना चाट मिल जाए या मुझे गोलगप्पे मिल जाएं. तो वो उनको 2 चीज़ें जो है वेजिटेरियन मिलती हैं 100%, no matter where we go. वो आलू का समोसा, एंड आई थिंक आपने और मैंने एक दफ़ा डिस्कस भी किया था, आप मुझे बता रही थी कि एक चिकन का जो रोल होता है उसका एक अल्टरनेटिव भी है, वेजिटेरियन अल्टरनेटिव.
ओह यस, जो बेसिकली माय फ्रेंड ईमन, उसने एक दफ़ा हमें बताया कि तंदूरी हट पनीर, उनका जो पनीर टिक्का जो जनरली प्लेटर में मिलता है, वो उसको अगर आप उनको बोले रोल में करके दे दें तो वो आपको करके दे देते हैं. एंड दैट इज़ द डे आई काइंड ऑफ फिगर्ड कि ईमन ने पनीर टिक्का रोल इन्वेंट किया है. तो आई हैव बिन हैविंग दैट सिंस, लेकिन इट्स सो हिलेरियस. वो लोग अपना चिकन चटनी रोल 220 का रखते हैं, लेकिन पनीर टिक्का रोल 450 का है.
Wow.
जो कि कभी कभी हंसी आती है, कहती है यार इट्स सपोज टू बी चीपर वेजिटेरियनिज्म, बट लाइक with the inflation that we are going through, I think everything is at the same price. Something like yeah, so I think tandoori hut ka paneer tikka roll definitely try करें. It's very filling and very good.
Okay, and there's also a place जहाँ पर हमने एक दफ़ा डिस्कस किया था कि मशरूम कढ़ाई मिलती है. You know the place really well.
Yes, म्यूनिसिपल बिल्डिंग के सामने एक हिंदू टेम्पल है और वहाँ पर उन लोग के पास एक हिंदू रेस्टोरेंट है. हम लोग जब एक टूर पे गए थे, एक वेजिटेरियन टूर था, उस पर जब उन्होंने हमें वहाँ के जो ओनर है उन्होंने अपनी पूरी हिस्ट्री बताई थी कि वो लोग कब से हैं यहाँ पर, एंड आई थिंक इट्स इवन बिफोर पार्टीशन, सो आई थिंक दैट वाज रियली इंटरेस्टिंग. तो वो कढ़ाई इज कॉल्ड खुम्बी, एंड खुम्बी इज द सिंधी वर्ड फॉर मशरूम, तो इट्स अ होल मील और इट्स 150 रुपीज़ ओनली.
वाओ. अच्छा, लोगों का क्या रिएक्शन था जब आप वेजिटेरियन बन गई थी, आपने बताया?
सबसे पहले तो लाइक I'll say this in like 3 parts, right? First of it is like, अच्छा ये तो एक phase है, it'll go over. And then usually the decision to choose what you eat is generally not, kind of weirdly not respected here, because कोई और अपनी diet पे keto भी कर रहा होता है ना, तो people are like खा लो ना थोड़ा सा क्या हो जाएगा, you know, that kind of thing. तो वो जो चीज़ होती है ना, that is something that I faced. Secondly, जो होता है ना थोड़े lack of options, but that's slowly changing as well. And then thirdly, it's like Pakistan जैसे मुल्क में ना, and then I would have to correct them and be like, yeah, but if you look at the history, हम लोग mostly plant-based ही थे. And then, you know, that really gives them pause. Like they start thinking, they're like, oh yeah, you're right. Actually तो हमारे पास बहुत vegetarian खाने हैं.
मसाला डोसा.
Like, and like as always in a city like Karachi. Also, interestingly, I was at a hang at Xander's, and I ended up ordering like mostly vegetarian items, and everyone, like nobody said anything. They all enjoyed, they all ate it,
And they never noticed.
They were like, oh acha, you are a vegetarian, and then you're like, why? Like, if you say, I ordered the feta and spinach pizza, which I really like, and then everybody down to the last slice, they were like, this was really good. I was like, I know, because when you change your diet, you really adapt to finding out where you can adapt things to becoming vegetarian. And then if you just tell most good restaurants will adapt for you. So if you talk to them, they'll do it.
अच्छा, मैंने एक चीज़ ये भी नोटिस किया है कि नाउ व्हेन वी गो टू रेस्टोरेंट्स, मैं ऑलरेडी स्ट्रेस आउट कर रही होती हूँ कि रेस्टोरेंट्स के नहीं, शादी में जा रहे होते हैं, तो आई नोटिस कि वहाँ पे स्पेशली आपको वेजिटेरियन ऑप्शंस नहीं मिलते हैं. मोस्ट वेडिंग्स में मोस्ट वेजिटेरियंस दैट आई हैव टेकन टू वेडिंग्स, उनको सिर्फ चटनी मिलती है या दही मिलती है या नान मिलती है, बट द रेस्ट ऑफ इट इज़ ऑल वेरी मीट फ्रेंडली. How do you navigate going to weddings?
Okay, so partly like I think वो भी होता है कि as a single person I don't generally go. So but when I try to eat beforehand. Our weddings are so much later in the day, at 9 or 10 o'clock, and as I said earlier that my health has improved a lot, but that's also partly because I decided not to eat after a certain time. So when I do, I feel very bad. So no, I don't feel bad in that sense. I just feel very weighed down and I feel tired and I don't get good sleep. So that's something I focus on a lot. So, you know, if you eat beforehand, generally that's manageable. Lekin I also want to question to caterers and all that why don't you have a vegetarian option? Because generally, agar aap if one rice and one gravy option is vegetarian, that means you're inclusive of everybody.
पालक कर सकते हैं, आलू कर सकते हैं, बहुत सारे options हैं.
जैसे and I think मैंने note भी किया है, many older people, many beyond, and ये हमारी I think एक ethnically Aryan race kind of, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but इसमें भी है. As we grow older, I think our ability to digest meat also kind of starts.
हाँ, क्योंकि आपकी body require करती है बहुत ज़्यादा energy उसके लिए. And older people prefer.
Exactly. So I've noticed that most older people would prefer to have some. If there is something vegetarian, then maybe they will also be less, inclined. They'll be more inclined to have it.
हाँ, अच्छा, एक और जो लोगों के पास कंसर्न होता है वेजिटेरियनिज्म से रिलेटेड, जो मीट ईटर्स की तरफ से होता है, वो ये है कि जी आप हेल्दी नहीं हैं, आपके अंदर B12 की डिफिशिएंसी है, आपके अंदर प्रोटीन की डिफिशिएंसी है, क्योंकि मीट में ही सारे न्यूट्रिएंट्स अपेरेंटली मिल रहे होते हैं हमें. तो हाउ डू यू काउंटर दैट?
मैं यूजुअली उसको काउंटर करती हूँ विद सेइंग कि लाइक मोस्ट पीपल, एक तो देयर इज द काइंड ऑफ इन इकोनॉमिकल सोशल कॉस्ट ऑफ लाइक maintaining eating meat every single day. It's too much. So I counted, especially now with inflation and all that. I was like, have you noticed, like, sometimes even just like making people aware of the fact that their daily food panda order has gone up by a few $100 is enough to be like, do you realize how expensive to make it is?
₹1000 की chicken हो गई तकरीबन.
Do you realize how expensive it is to maintain this lifestyle? So the meat eating lifestyle is something I feel is unsustainable. But a vegetarian one is pretty sustainable, because no matter what happens, your onions and potatoes and carrots will always be there, and they will always be more nutritious and sustain you. But I think, like, so basically your question was how is it nutritious? But
B12 protein.
I think like more plant-based protein is actually better for you, because your body takes like longer periods of time to digest animal protein. अगर आप इनको थोड़ा साइंस बेस्ड सारी थोड़ी चीज़ें भी समझाएं ना, तो आई थिंक द प्रॉब्लम इज दैट इट्स ऑल लाइक it's the mindset. It's as a culture we've kind of accepted that, oh, if there will be no like grand meat dish at anything, then it's not really like a hangout or a get together.
लेकिन इतनी ताकत कहाँ से आएगी?
It's basically all of the, as I told you, like my bowel movements and everything have become better. Like it's also because of all the fiber and everything that's in. So it's really not about how much it's really not about how much meat you're consuming, because that is not where all of the kind of
nutrition
is. And as you said also, the dietitians have also said that once a week is good for you.
Yes, so most dietitians are of the opinion कि even if you're eating meat, आपको एक दफ़ा हफ्ते में उससे ज़्यादा आपको ज़रूरत नहीं है.
हाँ. I think it's also like partly it's a propaganda भी बहुत हो गया है ना. जैसे लोग, we are the only kind of humans don't really need animal milk, but we still kind of insist कि उससे calcium आता है.
नहीं, वो बहुत मज़े का होता है. It's nice and creamy. That's where ice cream comes from. That's where cheese comes from. That's where all the good things in life come from. Don't take that away from us.
But like with the addition of preservatives, like अब जैसे if you look at these packaged juices, they're 50% sugar now, and 50% like I don't know what preservatives are in there. So they're not like overall with the industrialization, the processes and agricultural practices have made our food extremely unconsumable. But as always, vegetables will be there to sustain you, like no matter what.
But why do you think Pakistanis are so averse to meat? Vegetables. हम इतने ज़्यादा meat heavy nation कब से बन गए हैं?
I think it has to do with a lot of like we tie our identity to it as well, because हम लोग के त्योहार के like we have all these celebrations which are about barbecues and getting together and
हाँ, बकरीद पे क्या करती हो?
बकरीद, like oh my god, it's the worst time of the year for me. Like okay, so I think the part of it comes from my own family's aversion to it all, because they think that the way it's done in our cities is so gross and unsustainable. So there's that. And then there is like my own support system around it, right? My friends and family have really adapted to like not having.
हाँ, लेकिन बकरीद बारबेक्यू के बगैर क्या है?
Like what is it? I think, as I said, we've tied our identity to it as well. So once we kind of divorce ourselves from it and kind of see that, oh, actually, there's a much larger seasonal produce to be had every season, because we get really good. Even I've become really attuned to how good our produce is, because it comes, it's not imported, and well, like most of the time, I think. But it's like if you become more attuned to that, I think you will start cooking more seasonally. You will start living in that way that you kind of like stop buying, even if you're like thinking I'll buy canned mushrooms. That's not good for you. Canned, tinned, or all that, because
स्पेशली जब आजकल जो है टमाटर जो है 100 रुपए में 3 किलो मिल रहे हैं
like, yes, exactly.
and in the summer they become very expensive because वो उनका season नहीं है technically speaking.
Exactly. So you know, if you kind of like see that we have a wide variety of things available now, and sometimes like connections you have through it. So my sabzi wala knows me really well because he'll see me coming with my tote bag, and then he'll say, "Baji, ye baji to theli nahi leti." So you know, those are also things I've started noticing. I think that really inform. Like
लेकिन एक कसाई के साथ भी हो सकती है relationship. जरूरी नहीं कि सिर्फ सब्जी वाले के साथ हो.
I don't think you would put like a bag of meat in a tote bag.
No, you wouldn't.
So it just becomes so unhygienic. But I feel like there is overall a good sort of like a healthy relationship to be had with vegetables, and I think we need to be doing it more as a society.
No, and that's true. I've also started noticing seasonal produces, as you mentioned as well. Just like winter, we definitely have very good spinach.
Yes.
We have the best produce coming out. We have broccoli, locally produced. मुझे ये नहीं पता था कि हमने strawberries कब grow करना शुरू कर दिए, but अब हमारी local strawberries आ रही हैं और वो गंदे डब्बे वाली नहीं आ रही हैं.
नहीं, exactly.
तो इस तरह से हम ज़्यादा exotic plants की तरफ भी जा रहे हैं, vegetables की तरफ भी जा रहे हैं. Jackfruit, I've heard के यहाँ पे farms खुल गए हैं. हम अपना olives जो है grow कर रहे हैं. So I do think कि हमारे पास एक variety आना शुरू हो गई है.
I think exactly, and I feel that over time, like you know, before like one thing I've learned is like if you spend like a little bit more money on extra virgin olive oil, your food will taste good forever.
Like, well, you sound very bougie when you say that.
Yeah, I know that, but like. I mean,
and following your Instagram, I keep thinking कि ये अभी single है इसलिए इतने पैसे खर्च कर रही है. इसकी बहुत special तरह की जो एक bread है, फिर एक बहुत special तरह की कोई चीज़ है, फिर एक बहुत special तरह का. And these are all local businesses which I love कि आप उनको support कर रही हैं and that these businesses exist. लेकिन आपका like per average जो food cost है वो मुझे लग रहा होता है कि वो आम बंदे के out of reach है completely.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's really funny because like I do tend to highlight small businesses a lot, but more people have become more inspired. I feel like they message me and say, okay, can you please share the recipe? Or we follow what you're doing. And I think that it's making people more aware of that a vegetarian lifestyle can be very, very, well, first thing, pleasing to the eye, and secondly, very pleasing to your body also.
That's true. That's true. Because of Abdullah, my husband, we've had to adapt to a vegetarian lifestyle mostly, and I've noticed कि वो मुझे बहुत light feel होता है.
Yeah.
Overall. और अब मैं खुद ही जो है मीट इतना नहीं खा रही होती हूँ क्योंकि मुझे पता है उसके बाद मुझे थोड़ी सी lethargy महसूस होती है. हमेशा थोड़ी सी lethargy. I feel a little lazy afterwards.
Oh, exactly. You know, it's so funny. I've seen whenever I've entertained and I've had like a vegetarian item, it's the first to go. I've noticed vegetarian pizzas finish much faster than the fajita ones or the chicken tikka ones, and I'm like, so people actually subconsciously, if you kind of just actually have an all vegetarian menu, I think people won't even notice, and they'll be like, oh, we had a great time, and all of that, and that is exactly it, right? The mindset change, and also kind of like just kind of sneakily putting it there, and then you notice that people actually eat it.
Okay, what are the places you would avoid in Pakistan, like as a vegetarian? जाने का कोई फायदा नहीं है वहाँ पे.
Okay, so I feel like I feel Islamabad has really improved in their vegetarian. I remember like Tiger Temple in 2018. There was not a single thing I could have had or even asked them to adapt. But today, Lofology has much more vegetarian items. I've noticed more menus have become kind of like Lahore ka bhi mujhe exactly nahi malum, but I think I remember going a while back, and I don't think there was anything that was like, it was difficult to kind of tell people that I don't want to eat meat. But Multan was a little bit difficult. I went recently, and it was like chicken gravy with chicken fried rice with chicken fried strips and chicken samosa.
And I remember you mentioning कि जब आपने host को बताया कि आप vegetarian हैं तो फिर क्या हुआ था आपके साथ?
Okay, so I was like, okay, sometimes it's also, as someone who's made this lifestyle change, आधा वक्त you're spent explaining yourself and also making apologies for asking someone to accommodate you, which is such an हमारे यहाँ की culture की इतनी interesting बात है. I feel like abroad, most people will have a vegetarian option or their on airplanes and all of that at their their
At their
like,
dinner
events,
parties,
and yeah, exactly, they will do that. But here it's like you're sort of tiptoeing around them and being like, hey,
all the meat eaters.
can you like kind of have one vegetarian
थोड़ी सी
item?
घास फूस डाल दो.
Yeah, exactly. And then first of all, the reaction is sort of like, oh, what do we do? Like, so then and the second is like, well, what happened in this case was like they didn't listen to me, and the next day it was the same thing.
Wow.
Because it's also, I think, asking to cater to one person is like a huge economical cost.
But I think there's also a mental block. I've had friends here from the Kashmiri background, just which is it's a massive meat eating background culture. And वो मुझे अक्सर बताते हैं कि if they told their mom कि हमारे दोस्त हमारे दोस्त vegetarian हैं, तो वो फिर भी सारे meat items बनाएंगी और फिर कह देंगी कि इन सब में सब्जी है. So, but it will also have meat in it. क्योंकि her concept of a vegetarian is one person जो कि meat तो खाता ही है, लेकिन सब्जियाँ भी ज़्यादा खा लेता है.
अच्छा, that's interesting because like a lot of people will say not even chicken. And हमारे यहाँ chicken is not even, white meat is not even considered meat. It's like mutton, lamb.
That's the vegetables of meat.
That's the vegetables of meat. And it's like, no, not chicken. And I though kind of went full turkey in the sense I don't even eat seafood. And so people are like, what? But you love seafood. And as a Karachiite, I was like, yes, I know. But
how do you go crabbing?
I do. Well, the best part is they actually, before I, like, talking about this, I think before I went crabbing with some friends, I think end of 2019, there was dal and there was like
aloo ki
aloo ki bhajia. And so even they make two vegetarian options. So I think why can't other people?
That's very true. What are the things that you're hoping to see, like in the future, when it comes to Pakistan and how they relate to their food?
Okay, so I hopefully want to see I talk about this a lot, but the end of ride-hailing, food delivery apps, because people think that they are a convenience. They are not. The added cost of these things is just so high, and the food is also often not very good because
all of the healthy restaurants are not on them. That's what I was disappointed by. When I wanted to order, I would notice that ज़्यादातर healthy restaurants नहीं हैं.
You will probably get desi cheese pizza or anything like that, which will make you feel
burger, Chinese, pizza.
Yeah, which will make you feel
chicken.
So it'll satisfy your hunger for like 5 minutes, but afterwards you will feel so heavy. You will be like, when will it be 5 o'clock and I can go home? So that I want to see the end of that, and secondly, I want to see a move towards more vegetarian lifestyle or more alternative dietary lifestyle, because with climate change and our incredibly unsustainable food practices, we will not be able to kind of make it with the way we are currently going. So there will like a more focus on seasonal produce, more, and I've seen this like बहुत tiny usme, but sort of food channels are also doing more vegetarian content. So I think that more move towards that is going to happen. So that is my hope.
Okay. And do you think that the massive increase in meat prices will now deter people from having meat?
Oh, I do 100% think that. So for example, we have we have a food delivery subscription from our community that delivers food to us.
What is this community?
Okay, so I'm part of the Bhuri community, and they kind of, in 2016, there was this whole kind of order to deliver food to families. And so the community took
So this is a service that is provided to you?
Yes. The community the leadership took the responsibility of feeding the people on itself. I've noticed in the last couple of years, they've gone 80% plant-based because of the rising food prices.
तो किस तरह के खाने मिलते हैं फिर?
So the best part is like, there will be dal chawal, so I'm always happy for that. There is a very special dish that we Bhuris make. It's called dal chawal palida. It's made with lauki, so it's kind of dal chawal, and that also comes. And so there is, and then there is always palak aloo. There is
dal chawal palida में क्या होता है?
Okay, dal chawal palida is like a split chana dal with and then the palida is the kind of like dal version of it, but it has lauki.
Okay.
And it's very good. Like it's just a whole meal in itself if you have it. And we also get aloo matar gobi. We get a lot of that. And then we also get which is something I really enjoy having. It's this aloo methi, or it's something like it's a saag aloo, which is also very delicious. So they've gone, now this food used to come like once or twice a week, now it comes 4 times a week.
Wow. So you think that overall Pakistan mein jo hai, we are moving towards vegetarian food more and more as compared to before?
Yes, absolutely. But even when I'm entertaining, I'm like, okay, where can I cut costs? Or where can I be very delicious, but also save me a lot of money? And often it's vegetarian food. That is the answer.
Have you ever had anyone come to your dinner parties and complain कि ये मैं नहीं खाऊंगी, you know?
Never. I think over time, most of the time it has not.
But you have gone to dinner parties and said, ये मैं नहीं खाऊंगी.
Like I've had to, it's sort of like a slow adaptation, but like part of me sort of enjoys guilting people also. Like I'll be like, मेरे लिए तो कुछ नहीं है. And then they're like, sorry.
I have seen that in action. I have seen the look of indignation you've had.
Like,
you know, I've seen my husband go up to the table very expectantly and then be very disappointed, but I've seen you be furious.
Yeah, I'd be like, what is there for me? And then they're like, oh my God, I completely forgot. And that's where, kind of, we're not doing it to guilt or shame, but we're also kind of pointing out that like, if you made a vegetarian item, then maybe you are inclusive of everybody. The meat eaters will also have it. So, it's not just for me, it's for everyone.
Exactly. मेरी एक vegetarian दोस्त ने point out किया था, she says कि देखो मेरी cuisine जो है vegetarian food जो है, it's inclusive. Whereas what you're having is not as much. वो हर कोई नहीं खा सकता, लेकिन जो मैं खा रही हूँ, वो हर कोई खा सकता है.
Exactly.
Is there anything that annoys you the most about being a vegetarian in Pakistan?
The biggest thing that annoys me is that people think like my bones are brittle and they're falling apart, and even though that none of that is true, by the way. The more I kind of say that no, this is the best I have felt in 5 years, the whole time that I've been a vegetarian, there seems to be some skepticism. How?
I think क्योंकि हमारे culture में ताकत is linked to meat.
Yes.
अगर हमारे क्रिकेट प्लेयर्स इंडिया को हरा रहे हैं तो वो इसलिए क्योंकि वो सब के सब वेजिटेरियंस हैं और हम सब मीट प्लेयर्स हैं. मीट ईटर्स हैं. मैंने ये बहुत दफ़ा सुना है. Across the board मैंने सुना है. But having said that, echoing how you feel, and this is somebody who's not a vegetarian at all, ये ज़रूर है कि डॉक्टर्स कहते हैं कि जब आपको हेल्दी ईटिंग करनी है तो आपको नॉन इन्फ्लेमेटरी डाइट्स खानी है और उसमें जो है सबसे ज़्यादा जो है वेजिटेबल्स की मिकदार होती है. They do ask you to limit your meat intake for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And something I've noticed is like जिन ख़वातीन को PCOS और endometriosis है, लेकिन वो जैसे ही थोड़े plant based diet की तरफ आती हैं उनके symptoms manage हो जाते हैं. And I think ये सबसे बड़ा lesson है to see कि how much a plant based diet आपकी overall health को impact करती है. Because like
I mean cholesterol, sugar, diabetes, everything related.
I think it's so sometimes when I have my moments is like whenever my family has eaten like red apple ka chicken burger or something, and then next day sabke peet kharab hote hain. And I'm like, and I'm fine because I don't
kabhi peet kharab nahi hua hai bahar kha ke.
I feel like it only happens when so I like spicy food a lot, as most Karachiites do. So us waqt jo hai like the acidity, the burning, all of that happens, but like पेट नहीं खराब होता.
But do you find it difficult, like अगर आप कहीं travel कर रहे हो on the spot कुछ खाना है? Because जब मैं travel करती हूँ मैं notice करती हूँ कि मुझे हर जगह चिकन कढ़ाई मिल जाएगी. मुझे इतना इत्मीनान ज़रूर होता है. So have you ever had those issues? Have you ever been anxious about, am I going to be able to eat something here or not?
Oh, most of the time, no, not really, because like, so I kind of now know where good things are. So I introduced my colleagues to Bamboo Union in Lahore, which is so good. Oh, well, Bamboo Union is very good. So I ordered like their pad thai with just tofu, and they said okay.
I mean, I'm talking about chicken kadai, dhaba, sadak
yes,
pe.
I know that.
Sadak pe
like,
kya milta
what I mean
hai?
is that chahe kuch nahi hoga, French fries will be forever, and dal. So they will any place will probably make you a dal. They will also give you some sabzi, and they will
lots of gas.
Huh?
Yeah,
and lots. That's true. And then, but there will always be that the dhaba wala chana chola, that thing that is so good, and there will always be French fries.
Okay. But do you think it's difficult being a vegetarian in Pakistan?
Not at all. Especially, but I will say this, in Karachi, it's not, because in Karachi, because of our multicultural background, we have a lot of options, and I usually go and ask for things to be adapted, and they do it.
Yeah, thank you so much for speaking with us. And there's a lot that I learned in this conversation, and a lot that we went over as well. हमारी अभी बात हो रही थी Atiya से, who is a lifelong vegetarian. She is also a massive foodie who not only cooks and puts up an amazing spread, completely vegetarian जब भी वो अपने का खाना करती हैं, but also writes about food and is very passionate about it as well. और हमने काफ़ी चीज़ें discover की कि किस तरह से जो है हमारी South Asian history में vegetarian food has always been a part of it, and किस तरह से जो है it has impacted her health, कहाँ पे हम जा सकते हैं, क्या खा सकते हैं, और किस तरह से जो है उनको शादियाँ नेविगेट करनी पड़ती हैं. So ये वाले टिप्स भी हमें मिल गए सर्वाइवल के एंड एवरीथिंग, एंड हाउ ओवरऑल जो है एज पाकिस्तानीज मे बी इट इज़ बेटर कि हम टूवर्ड्स अ मोर वेजिटेरियन लाइफस्टाइल शिफ्ट कर जाएं. और अकॉर्डिंग टू अतिया, महंगाई की वजह से अब हम मजबूर हैं, हम कर रहे हैं.